Circle seven surrounded by four corners. The ritual is typical, we do it habitual. Circle seven surrounded by four corners. The ritual is typical, we do it habitual. Circle seven surrounded by four corners. The ritual is typical, we do it habitual. Circle seven surrounded by four corners. The ritual is typical, we do it habitual. There's UFOs and underground bunkers still use nanotech to hunt us. Throat chakra tapper, watcher of the watchers, pulling up the skirts of the agent stalkers like top plates and midnight marauders, stomping on e-villains, conspiring with warlords and straw guards. Tried to hide but they saw us with candles, tear the matrix, turn to sawdust. Circle seven surrounded by four corners. The ritual is typical, we do it habitual. Circle seven surrounded by four corners. The ritual is typical, we do it habitual. Circle seven surrounded by four corners. The ritual is typical, we do it habitual. Circle seven surrounded by four corners. The ritual is typical, we do it habitual. Too many love to use force and wasting power, leaving water running and you're not even in the shower. Class in the kitchen when I go to Palmer. On their court when the servants are on you. Ask for warrant cards and oaths of police enforcers. Only when we tell them will they do for us. Pulling out Billy bats ready for orders. Beat yourself in the head to a corpus. This ain't the 60s, I'll help clansmen burn crosses. Suicide rhyme mission and vision got them taking losses. Codes are Morses, sung by daughters of a Tsar and a set, the moon and the star orbits. Now we stand on the stage and play at auctions, getting orphans to play and trade options. You have no defense, only offense. Too late, no smiles when entering GM's office. 10-year veteran treated like a novice. You could act AI, Rodman or Williamson Corliss, or act Hamilton. Why? The players won't start their own league or try. Bad ass slapping and on the defense napping and getting schooled by rookie MVP captains, trapping for touch fouls or dribbles over crossing. They should give more than they profit from endorsements. Getting fined for comments when fans torment. Only GM sons can apply for ballboy employment. Got sister from the hood paid grants to sing anthems. Kicked out the league for drugging and sex scandals. Only real role models, no promos for Cole Brothers. Doing it on fiat made from their best-selling old novels. UPLIFTINGFALLEN. Humanity.
Breathing life to this game. Anyone exploiting the art, I got to kill them. I swing my sword, they die hard. Bruce Willis, this is for the minds of the young Asiatics. The most incredible when I speak mathematics. I generate revenue, so if you see me, I'm never sleepy. I shed light wherever we be, like know the last TV. I'm resurrecting critical thought when I'm expressing with a depth. East Coast text, it's the return of the avatars, and we catching wreck till it ain't no way left in any pen, anywhere that we been, we fearsome with the desire to make the peoples rise up. I'm like Enoch in exquisite scripture, diviner, paradigm shifting, rhyme designer, ascending higher. It's the sire, it's none lava, sun's wiser than Nazarene dream, lyrical messiah, building like a carpenter in Messiah. Hard body with the style, like the ancient poets from the distant past, with skin that was burned like brass, conducting like gold. That's melanin or melanin. I'm still in the limelight from any scene in the flash, like I wear a mask made for skiing. The pristinest MC when I'm teaching, never preaching. When I conceive, birth beneath the same degrees that was locked within my genes when my mother first perceived that I was coming into being. Basically, I'm the best at passing any trial or test. When I reach them on the path, rise above them like cream with supreme class. FOI the MCs when I spaz, and the wealth stacking is in action. The precious metal snatching, forging the justice sword slashing. Olive skin, Moorish assassin with woolly hair on my face. The hardest spitting since 16 because I studied like a fiend, and now I smoke mics like Gil Scott is Heron. Some we reigning, and from here on we slay men who fake illumination but their own personal gain. And the new Moors is here, yo, it's time for changes. Yo, IHF to the core empowers me. Super Saiyan levels, Dragon Ball Z. Even if you see me, you don't see me. Alpha me, equals backwards in my trees. How they make the fruits with no seeds in the trees? I'm supernatural. Make the stuff with ease, like my nuts blowing in the breeze. On the system, as we walk in the streets, it's Car City. My heart is for my people. Spiritual war, heavy artillery, full mental store. Blood and guts spills, aches get torn. So I drop bombs of melanin on the unborn. Ultimate darkness crushes the fake masses. Mess around, get turned out like jackasses. We are the chemistry, get studied in classes. Drive by print trails, leave rashes on asses. This stuff ain't for the weak, not for the savages. Sight beyond sight, keep murmuring bandages. Circle 7 light, man, they can't handle this. I shine that bright, get shook in my presence. Don't make me have to stop nosing with my silence. My essence crushes evidence and tends resistance. Mother Earth gon' shake, man, and rackle the pestilence. No chemical injections, aka vaccinations. My spidey sense went off, time to switch locations. Locations. Locations.
Something surrounded by 4 corners. The ritual is typical, we do it a ritual. Something surrounded by 4 corners. The ritual is typical, we do it a ritual. Something surrounded by 4 corners. The ritual is typical, we do it a ritual. Something surrounded by 4 corners. The ritual is typical, we do it a ritual. All Moors are active, never passive. All Moors are active, never passive. Before I nationalized in 2007, I used to wonder why Moors talk like a reverend. God drew Ali like a religious idol, and that I have to listen to them cause they're the station or title. Moorish pastors active, Moors actors. God drew like a pirate and they're the parrots. On the shoulder, repeating everything, never doing. Constantly trying to stagnate the movement. Drew said new Moors will come with eyes wide open, seeing and knowing, not the kind hoping. Move up from belief to faith into fruition. Couldn't answer the question, but you want me to listen. When I mention HL, or Taj to be paid, they dissing. Saying Moors on a suicidal mission. Moors told me I get locked up, don't follow Taj, cause sheriffs have authority with a 6-point badge. Don't follow nature, babe, he's not a Moor. But when I watch his classes, he's saying much more. When I mention Dawid Ali El in Mecca, if words could injure, that Moor would be on a stretcher. When I mention Elihu, they say he lied too. But they always say Circle 7 is the most Bible. They engage me, so I say they do. Didn't want me to be on the lessons that I drew. Same people would sit around and say, you know, these crackers stole everything. These crackers don't have nothing if it wasn't for us. But then we'll sit right around and turn around and say that we are taking from them, from them, from them, from them, from them, from them, from them. Passives get mad when I call them out, asking where's the unity when I call them out. My union is to the prophet and a lot of sent him, not the temple more sheep wanting my attention, begging me to follow UCC1 on the straw to get me under contract when I wasn't before. They don't even care about void ab initio, still saying the African Moors, the Scipio Africanus, proper sailor since Pan-American Conference, and all the passive nonsense. This is not the Islam pushing bomb threat cards. True Moors are part selling part. We are the original Masons, okay? Not the European. Yes, they did take it and conquer the world, okay? But that's not theirs. Masonry does not belong to the Europeans. Europeans, 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 dreamy and drooling, falling for the fooling. Mental slaves sell out or get bought out for cooning. Being your example to follow with no strain. Meant means mind, so govern and entertain is more than you imagine. Carbon is melanin, Quran and Bible angels are cherubim and seraphim. Riding on the light angles, traveling at warp speed. We created cross reads, now we can't walk free. The mind is the plantation, everything is mental. Even filling your brother with lead like a pencil. Mercenaries with chalk, use bodies as a stencil. If rival gangs won't stop you, barbed wire fence will. It could take more, but it might take less. Cursing your God on Job's cashing the fake checks. Spending fake monopoly money, counterfeit at best. When you see something is wrong, you need to counter as best as you can. You don't need a magic wand or to click your heels twice to escape dreamland. Just use your mind. If you can't relate, you're living in an illusion, slave to the dream state. Just heard about Juali, don't think he's late. He brought nationality and link back to your east state. As Negro and black, we act like we can't see straight. Shaking by the shoulders, waking from their dream state. If you just heard about Juali, don't think he's late. He brought nationality and link back to your east state. As Negro and black, we act like we can't see straight. Shaking by their shoulders, waking from their dream state. Invasion. Drew Ali my water when the fire starts blazing. Running with no holy buckets to Caucasian. While Asiatics daydreaming, mental stargazing. Not paying attention, but paying taxes and fines. Now said the world is yours, it really meant mine. If I ruled the world, you wouldn't want to be black. You wouldn't want to be a deadbeat dad or be white for sure. You wouldn't want to be the dirty moral leader, convicted and facing my firing squad either. You won't be put in a box, forget the cedar. Taking tires off cars at unexpired meters. If I ruled the world, dirty Moors would hate it. Find them with their wrists slit and bathrooms naked. Find them holding scimitar handles, slumped over with suicide notes to Jehovah. If you just heard about Juali, don't think he's late. He brought nationality and link back to your east state. As Negro and black, we act like we can't see straight. Shaken by the shoulders, waking from their dream state. If you just heard about Juali, don't think he's late. He brought nationality and link back to your east state. As Negro and black, we act like we can't see straight. Shaken by their shoulders, waking from their dream state. Dream a little dream, wake up from the nightmare, dream a big dream. Live your life in fright, scared to change. When everything that grows must do such or stay stagnant. Living your life as a pageant, made of faces with eyeliner and makeup, created by the same ones you call racist. Wake up, allow their dignity and exercise patience. Don't shock them too hard with electrifying statements. Everything cloudy, mind acting rowdy, hypnotized by Pied Piper, sign and rap ungodly. Having so much influence, youths won't pull their pants up. Looking like a jailbird, begging for some handcuffs. In a dream state, getting grants up for freedom. Fiat is a slave to banks, you better see them. No different than the people are slaves to brand names. Move from dream to reality, change the landscape. He started from the top, don't listen to your man Drake. Only till clan hates and Masonic handshakes don't work. Moors are back, do your homework and assignments. Realize Moorish is the science. You just heard about Juali, don't think he's late. He brought nationality and link back to your east state. As Negro and black, we act like we can't see straight. Shaken by the shoulders, waking from their dream state. If you just heard about Juali, don't think he's late. He brought nationality and link back to your east state. As Negro and black, we act like we can't see straight. Shaken by their shoulders, waking from their dream state. Yeah. I know what Dirty Moors did to Drew Ali. I'm going at dirty rappers lynching dirty Moors too. Hide literature that Drew wrote to warn you. They claim to make you Muslim and make you sovereign. The paperwork and filings and fiat they robbing. They don't care about his words, throw it out like garbage or throw it at you. When you're active, not passive. When they want to talk about it's like off a trampoline mattress. Treat them like a vamp or a teen actress. Get stabbed with the brand like a mean savage. This inquisition's divine, all others average. Millennium renaissance, heroes in our classes. Shut up with the czar control rolling fastest. Ask if they heard about Moors, they say no. But Masons, they obviously know. Found the handshakes and rituals with skull and bones. They even know about owls burning Bohemian Grove. I know what dirty Moors did to True Ali. I know what dirty Moors did. I know what dirty Moors did. I know what dirty Moors did to True Ali. I know what dirty Moors did. I know what dirty Moors did. I know what dirty Moors did to True Ali. I know what dirty Moors did. I know what dirty Moors did. I know what dirty Moors did to True Ali. I know what dirty Moors did. Dirty Moors killed Drew. I read the FBI papers on loyal Moors, emergency fund rapers. Moorish literature and divine ballot changes. Might as well say Drew Ali was born in a manger. Prophet puts poison aside and his food smelled danger. Got me treating every Moor like a stranger. Grand Chief Punkin stumbling drunk in the feds. What was proclaimed for every meeting was not read. Some Moors are so active, prophet can't be dead. Thanks Moorish teachers away, I can't be led. Actions speak, then I consider what's said. And what's said was study, then study yourself. Honest to the prophet over True Ali. I know what dirty Moors did to True Ali. Everybody wants to be just like True Ali, but nobody wants to care about True Ali. I know what dirty Moors did to True Ali. I know what dirty Moors did. I know what dirty Moors did. I know what dirty Moors did to True Ali. I know what dirty Moors did. I know what dirty Moors did. I know what dirty Moors did to True Ali. I know what dirty Moors did. I know what dirty Moors did. I know what dirty Moors did to True Ali. I know what dirty Moors did.
Islam Moors, peace and love to all the Moors worldwide, wherever you're at. Happy Holy Day to all the nobles and all the mothers, wherever it is that you're at. So as we know, there's this talk. We've been talking about this for a little while, but we spoke about years ago. We spoke about the time coming when Drew Ali is going to be back in the minds of the people when they're ready to receive it. And the way it's looking, that time is definitely accelerating, because people can't stop talking about Moors and Noble Drew Ali over the past few years. It seems like a clickbait topic. Just put Noble Drew Ali, Moors, Masons, whatever in their description box or their title of their video, and then they got the thousands of views. So we see that there's also a group of these people who are hell-bent on trying to convince people to not go the way of the Moorish paradigm. And they're doing everything in their power to keep the people away from their prophet, from their nationality, from their birthrights. And it's all part of the prophecies. It's all part of the prophecies laid down by Noble Drew Ali, so that we could see that he really was a prophet, and what he was presenting was really for the salvation of the nations. So before we go into the beatdown, before we go into the Hulk smash today, we just want to stress 2 points. One, to be proclaimed at every meeting. I'm glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There is a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people of our side of the nation that claim I was only a joke and unreal. And two, to the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. These are trying hours now, dear Moors, and every evil spirit is moving, and they are trying every weak mind to overthrow and drag out the true foundation that has been laid, and to cause confusion in the minds of the ones that do believe. Now, this was written in the 1920s. And if it was written in the 1920s and we can pick it up today and see that it's relevant, that's proof positive that he's a prophet. So we want to give honors to the Magi. We want to give honors to the seer. We want to give honors to the master metaphysician, Noble Drew Ali, for doing the work that he did so we could be where we're at right now, knowing the truth about our nationality and birthrights in these days and times. So we're going to listen to this video today called Part 5, No More Misunderstanding. Garvey, UNIA, Moabite, Circle 7, NOI, The Great Seal, Mason. 2,500 views from 7 hours ago, 263 thumbs up, 16 thumbs down by Kurimeo Ahau. And we'll see where this goes. But before we do that, of course, we gotta bring the Moors in. We got 2 guests today. One of them you already know, and another brother who's been watching the beatdowns and said he wanted to get in on the beatdown because he got some information to share for the people. So Moor, just put your appellation on the record and we'll get started.
Shalom, Moorish. Brother Yusuf Mutadi L. Doing class with the Grand Sheik King and Moorish. Calling from Moroccan Islam. I'm Brother Brielle Bay, calling out of Cleveland, Ohio. Been studying for a long time, and if you read, you can see right through the bull crap. But if you don't read, they trick you every time. You just got to know what to read and how to read it.
Islam, before we get started, look, if you could just put some of your history on the record so people could know that we're not dealing with an independent researcher like these YouTube scholar people. We're actually dealing with, somebody who's been involved in the Moorish paradigm. Brother Brielle. Yeah, just give us a little background so we know where you're coming from.
What is some of my background? I could just tell you, like, one day I was watching the first Hidden Colors. I've always been a truth seeker all of my life. I was raised in Islam.
Sorry, Moore, you're breaking up a little bit.
I was raised in Islam at the first Cleveland Masjid, Sunni Islam, but I always been, and I had certain stuff when it came past me since I was like 6 years old. I just never thought about it. I went over to Christianity, studied that too, and all type of triple double thoughts about that as well. Until one day, I think I was about maybe 22, 23 years old. I was chilling with my neighbor, and we were watching Hidden Colors. And then we were watching Hidden Colors. He wanted to pull me to the side of everybody else, and he just told me what it was. My neighbor just so happened to be a freemason. He was a military mason. He wasn't a civilian mason. And he just came to me like, I don't know if you ever gonna travel the past, but I'm gonna tell you everything that I can tell you. And that dude, he's talking about the spirit. He said that dude on Hidden Colors is right. And I just been studying ever since. So as I learned, I had questions to lawyers that I just so happened to know through the restaurants that I was working at downtown Cleveland, and they were like, "How do you know about that?" I just follow the resources that was given to me. A few of them. So I even had my times and tribulations, like within the courtroom, to where if I speak about this information, I go last in the courtroom. They put me in the bullpen or take me out the courtroom. Everybody else go, and then I go last, just so everybody else don't find out. So, it's not as if I'm a person that just talking, because I actually stand what it do when you exercise this. I've seen the fear in their face when I know when you know this type of stuff. So yeah, I've been studying. Every now and then I go to the subordinate temple number 7 around the corner from my house and speak to the people I know around there and learn from them. But that's just some of my little history. It's a lot to go with it, and I don't think I got all the time. So with that, I pass.
It's a lot more. Give thanks for that. So so we're gonna start this thing up and correct these misunderstandings that people like to use to try to debunk Moors.
Of America, again, same author. Just this is the actual, I believe, thesis. He typewrited it. All right, so we're gonna go to page 7 real quick. The abstract, and it says Prophet Noble Jewelries, A Brief History by Herbert H. Booker II, because there's some things in here he says that he leaves out in the other one. It says,
now before we do that, we just want to make sure that people get Herbert H. Booker on the record, right? So let's make sure you're looking at this right now. Just want to make sure you get this. So this is Herbert Booker right here. You can see that. There's his comment. My 1997 thesis was Prophet Noble Drew Ali and the Moorish Science Temple of America at California State University, Northridge, Rakib, Booker Bay. So this is what we're up against. Herbert Booker. Now, it's interesting who these people choose to find to use as their reference points, right? It's interesting who they find to use as the reference point, right? Because we have our own Europeans that we use when it comes to the Moorish paradigm, and we don't find any flaws in their demonstration as to Noble Drew Ali, what he was studying, who he was studying from, where he went to learn, what he brought back for the Asiatics of America. None of that, right? You don't find any discrepancies. But it's interesting that these people who like to make their little clickbait videos to try to make Moors look like we're on some folly, they always find these people with discrepancies in their teachings and talking about things that have nothing to do with anything. So just keep that in mind. You can go to Facebook and just look him up, Herbert Booker, and you'll see him come up. He got his picture up there from 1997 when he wrote his thesis.
in the late 19th century, African American intellectuals became increasingly critical of European American Christians for supporting racial segregation here in America and colonialism in Africa. European Americans, they charged, were in danger of turning Christianity into a white man's religion. Timothy Drew, 1886 to 1929, an African American religious leader, came forward to offer African Americans an alternative to Christianity. All right.
And we already know that Timothy Drew wasn't no African American leader. Timothy Drew was Cherokee. So don't even get him cut up. Don't even get tripped up that you hear Timothy Drew and they're talking about African American and you're looking at it like, huh, you see, the Moors were black one time. No, Timothy Drew was Cherokee. And we already know there's no such thing as African American because Jesse Jackson made that up. But again, they're going to lie on the prophet. They're going to tell stories on the prophet to try to cause confusion in the minds of the ones that do believe. And Moors already know that belief is the first step of the 3-step ladder to salvation. Belief is first, after belief is faith, and after faith is fruition, and fruition is when man himself knows that he's one with Allah and there's no confusion. So to cause confusion in the ones who are at the first step of this, they're gonna put in all this colorable language. And remember, we learned from Dr. Ivan van Sertima that if you talk a certain way in these universities, they're gonna destroy you. They're gonna fail you. You're not gonna get to pass in university talking about certain things. Because the whole point of these Europeans being in this land is to make sure that the Asiatics of America, so-called Negro, black, colored, don't make it. Keep them deaf, dumb, and blind, and use their own and some Europeans to keep them in that position of deaf, dumb, and blind, not knowing what's going on. Islam, Moors, any interjections?
No, I was going to say, if you know when they cast in the spell, the first thing when he said, oh yeah, Timothy Drew, African-American leader, the man had a nationality, and during that time, he wasn't even, the term African-American wasn't even coined. So if you can read through the lies and you know what's going on, you can see the psych attacks soon as they happen. The first psych attack in that video was by him disrespecting the prophet and calling him Timothy. And the second psych attack was him calling him African American, which is the title that makes you a slave.
Right.
Yep.
Islam.
And it's like, I watched some of the video earlier. I don't know if I'm skipping ahead or not, but he said that, oh yeah, he was a student. If you look at all of our leaders, at one point in time, I don't care, they were students. They had to learn from somebody. So to even try to make it seem as if the prophet wasn't a prophet because he was once a student, and it's a psych attack. That's how I see it. You're playing with the people's psychological thinking, making think for themselves. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we're hearing you more loud and clear.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So,
I mean, like I could go into a lot of stuff that how we more than America without double duality, and just show them like we've been here. Knowing that's Moors is in their laws. Why are we arguing about this? It's the only thing that we're recognized lawfully, legally around the world.
Islam. Actually, if you got a reference point or two, feel free to throw those out. You know, feel free to throw out whatever you got more. We got some time.
Hold on, let me. This is. Hold on. I like that you said.
Yeah, no more. Go ahead, Brother Yusuf.
No, I love that he said it was disrespect by him calling him Timothy. I love that. I love that. Like, that is total disrespect, you know, him calling him Timothy. Like, when these people go to school, they don't call them Europeans by their first name. They Mr. Such and Such. Mr. Such and Such.
Straight.
But when it comes to our prophet, they gonna call him Timothy. Like, where is that? Who raised you? Your parents didn't raise you better than that? Not to call an elder by their first name? Like, but you already know, like he said, antennas is going up because they blatantly being disrespectful. They doing this purposely. They got an agenda. They're not in it to try to, let's bring some facts to the contrary and show that this is what it really is. Nope. They already have their agenda and they're already branding and labeling and being disrespectful to the prophet. I love that he brought that up.
Islam. Islam, brother, big.
Yeah, I just like even to call Malik Shabazz Malcolm is fucking disrespectful. Excuse my language.
Oh, it's all good, Moor. Cuss him out. You know, it's all good. You straight. Cuss him out.
Yeah. All right. No, I ain't gonna sit up there and act like I'm the holiest of holiest.
Oh, don't
I
worry.
just know better.
It's all good,
But
man.
to even disrespect Malik Shabazz like that is by calling out Malcolm X. Number one, the man put his nationality on the record before he passed on. So that was his name, and that would be for him being the slavery title. I know he might have got famous under that name, but we don't call him who he is. Malik Shabazz, and we gonna Grand Boo. I forget what you it's on the tip of my tongue.
Oh, Sheikh Sharif?
But
yeah. Sharif Abdul Ali?
Yeah. But it's just funny to me, like they start off with these bike attacks because a lot of people, because of their video,
they're breaking you up again. Say that again. They're breaking you up again. Say that again.
I say a lot of cats will come to these agents' videos looking to debunk the Moorish Science Temple, not because they're agents per se, but because they already was trained in one way to think of all of their life. So when you bring this to them and you give them the science, they're going to challenge it. So a cat like this would trip you up. Just talking the basic language and African American type stuff.
Islam was.
What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back into this Delaware Indian color.
Mm-hmm.
Mind you, they say Indian is an Indian colorable, but it's this. But it's this. They call these Indian colors.
Hold on, run that again, but make sure you talk in the mic every time.
I say any Delaware Indian codes, they call them Indian codes, but within the codes, if you read it, they call these people Moors.
Which would obviously mean that they're not Indians.
They're not. They're recognized as Moor. And these are not even part of the temple. That should speak volume. They don't say nothing about them coming from Africa. They don't say nothing about them coming from the Morocco in Africa. They said that these people kept their ways before. Here we go, right here. They said that these people kept their ways before the Europeans came over here. And throughout all the time in history. And they never changed their tradition, so they recognize it. Hold on, I'm about to
Islam.
go straight to it. I'm putting it up.
And then somebody in the chat just said that on the license that they had, the Delaware Lenape license, they had M on the license for Moor.
Yeah, the M is for Moor.
Yeah,
it's right there.
Clarification, yeah.
This not even me looking at Noble Jurali.
Right.
This is just me looking at what the Europeans put out there because they kind of force. The trick is this. We tell you, or we put it out there, but we don't tell you and make it like publicized. Therefore, if you just don't look it up and you fall short, it's still on you because you had the duty to study and be diligent with your studies and you didn't. So this is kind of wipe their hand clean. the Pontius Pilate thing.
Right.
And then in order to remain in power, because the only power they got is what we give them, in order to remain in power, they put people that look just like me and you out there to trick up everybody else.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
You're doing it right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, we're doing it right now. Let's carry on.
Right, an alternative, because he felt that Christianity was a religion for European Americans, and that the true religion for African Americans was Islam. So why did he use Christian writings? Right, in his book that he wrote, as kind of his Bible, right? In 1913, Timothy Noble Drew Ali, as his fathers called him, founded the first non-Christian temple in New York.
Islam, or?
No, because he just said like, why did, like, basically he's saying, well, why, if he brought Islam and he started off with Christian writings or whatnot, why wouldn't he start off with Islamic teachings then? But that's like, if we're going to go learn Latin and the instructor just speaks Latin all day, we're not learning nothing because you got to break that down to me.
Right.
Because my foundation is English.
Right.
So you got to talk to me in English first to give me the Latin later so I can understand the Latin. You're not going to just start talking to me in Latin because I'm going to start coming to class because I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
I don't know what you're talking about. But if you say the word in English and then tell me what it is in Latin, then I can start getting to understand what Latin is. Just like when he spoke to the people at the level they were at, which was Christianity. And then ease them into the Islamic teachings.
Right.
Because these people, like C. Kurimeo said, they was walking around looking for Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
How else was they going to get deep?
Right.
They still looking for Jesus. There we go. There you go. They not looking for a Moabite Jesus. They looking for a pale Jesus. But this was funny to me. If you really pay attention to the Bible was Islam. Man, Jesus made some lots. It's in there. He prospered when he prayed.
Mm-hmm.
They just cover it up at this Christian title. That's the corruption. Just like the United States ain't no Christian nation. Nope. Obama told him. It's an Islamic nation. It was out there before Obama said it. He just put it on the media. Right. It's Islam here. If you go to Yale, I can't pull it up on a computer, but go to the Yale Barbary treaties, and then it'll give you a bunch of dates on top, and go to the 1492, and they give you all the letters for Columbus and everything. When Columbus got here, he seen Mars cheese. Mm-hmm. He seen Mars over here. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's just the corruption though. Most Christian teachings, except for a lot of the stuff that Paul rewrote later on, if Paul ever existed, is Islam.
Islam.
From the religion and the science.
Now, just to again put the point on the record using reference points. We're gonna go to Jesus was a Muslim from a Moorish American Hebrew. Brother Sheikh Denham L, who we just uploaded this video yesterday talking about the Moroccans versus the Moorish Americans. Jesus was a Muslim. The word prostrate can be defined as laying on the ground with one's face downward. So the verse in the Holy Quran is giving the science on all the prophets giving admiration and worship to the revelation of the Almighty through prostration, which is an ancient ritual found in Kemet, Canaan, and other ancient civilizations as well. The idea of prostration does not belong to Muslims or Islam exclusively, as it always has been before there was a religion. We also know that it was with Islam where we find prostration being utilized the same way it is described in the Holy Bible. Yet the average Christian has not been exposed to the correct method of prayer, even though the Holy Bible is full of these references. Let's examine a few. Matthew 26, verse 39. And he, Jesus, went a little farther and fell on his face and prayed, saying, O my Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as thou wilt. Matthew 17, verse 6. And when the disciples heard it, they fell on their face and were so afraid. Genesis 17, verse 3. And Abraham, Hebrew Israelite guy, fell on his face, and God talked with him, saying, Exodus 34, verse 8. And Moses, Hebrew guy, made haste and bowed his head toward the earth and worshipped. Numbers 16, verse 20 to 22. And Moses and Aaron went from the presence of the assembly unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and they fell on their faces, and the glory of the Lord appeared unto them. That was Numbers 26. Now Numbers 16, verse 20-22. And the Lord spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, Separate yourselves from amongst this congregation, that I may consume them in a moment. And they fell upon their faces, and said, O God, the God of the spirits of all flesh, shall one man sin, and wilt thou be wroth with all the congregation? Nehemiah 8, verse 16. And Ezra blessed the Lord, the great God. And all the people answered, Amen, Amen, with lifting up their hands. And they bowed their heads and worshipped the Lord with their faces to the ground. Joshua 5, verse 14. And he said, Nay, but as captain of the host of the Lord am I now come? And Joshua fell on his face to the earth and did worship, and said unto him, What saith my Lord unto his servants? Ezekiel 9, verse 8. And it came to pass, while they were slaying them, and I was left, that I fell upon my face and cried, and said, O Lord, wilt thou destroy all the residue of Israel in thy pouring out of fury upon Jerusalem? 2 Chronicles 20, verse 18. And Jehoshaphat bowed his head with his face to the ground, and all Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem fell before the Lord, worshiping the Lord. Ezekiel 11:13. And it came to pass when prophesied that Pelatiah and the son of Benai died. Then fell I down upon my face and cried with a loud voice, and said, O Lord God, wilt thou make a full end of the remnant of Israel? The Islamic paradigm of ritualistic prayer is alive and well in the Holy Bible. While some Muslims will tell you that the method of prayer is demonstrated in Islam came from the hadiths, the actual takbir, ruku, and prostration. I tend to disagree, as we can see that it is alive in the Holy Bible. We also know the method in which the ancient Jews prayed was the same way. The Muslim prayers today, a good reference for this is To Pray as a Jew by Rabbi Haim Halevi Donin. To Pray as a Jew by Rabbi Haim, Haym, Halevi, Halevy, Donin, Donin. I also wonder if those who address themselves as Israelites, do they prostrate? Because in my research, it leads me to ask, how do they worship? What is their ritual? Also, what was Jacob's nationality during his name change to Israel? We know that Jesus was not Jew, but was of the Canaanite Moabite blood, and from this manifest is where the Hebrew religion originates from. The prophet Drew Ali made it interesting in our Moorish Holy Quran, where he mentions Elohim and the Hebrews, which are all correlated to Canaan, right down to the god of Canaan, El. Jesus was a Muslim. Look further into the Bible and see if you can find any other concepts that may be Islamically related. And that's from the book Jesus Was a Muslim
At the end of the day,
by Denham L.
at the end of the day, can you hear me?
Yeah, more. We can hear you.
At the end of the day, my point is this. The Bible is Islam. Don't let them confuse you with the corruption that they put on it as if Christianity is just a different God. There's only one culture on the planet, and that's Moorish science, which is Islam. And nobody's really doing anything different but telling you it's different, and you're believing it. And because you believe it, it becomes your reality. So don't let, why he quote Jesus and why even in the Eastern so-called religions are like Confucius and Hindu Christian religion. It's the same thing. Pretty much the same stories, but they kind of put a twist on it. But there's only one culture around the planet. So don't let him fool y'all with that. Point blank period. We just gave y'all proof. Don't be reading the Bible for yourself. And it is what it is.
Islam. You got anything to add on, Brother Yusuf?
Yeah, Islam. Just to add on to both of you Moors. This is coming out of the Encarta Encyclopedia. It says, what language did Jesus really speak during this ministry? It's very important to know that the Hebrew and Greek letters that were found are only translations that were written 150 to 300 years after Jesus. It is important to know that Jesus did not speak Greek, so therefore the Greek letters are nothing but translations, which could have many faults in it, from Aramaic to Greek. Same applies to Hebrew. When you translate a doctrine that was written 100 years ago, the fact into another language, then you can't really claim that your sources are 100% correct. As a matter of fact, claiming 50% would be even too much. It says before the Christian era, Aramaic had become the language of the Jews in Palestine. Jesus preached in Aramaic, and parts of the Old Testament and much of the rabbinical literature was written in that language. I just wanted to back that too. Back both of y'all. Like, even Jesus himself spoke Aramaic. Like that Greek translations and stuff, all that, after hundreds, like I said, after hundreds to 300 years of translation, it starts getting distorted. And Arabic was the one that was to survive after all these years. And said Jesus spoke it before it, because that language wasn't even in existence. If we're looking at Jesus in that time. So, like you said, the Bible is Islamic. It was written and preached in Arabic. It couldn't have been nothing else. Let me drop another bomb on him. on the haters. All your medical stuff, ain't no European come up with that stuff. All that stuff, when they found it, it was written in Arabic and Aramaic. Go look that up. Ain't nobody, they show you the scripts of everything. Ain't no European come up with that stuff. I just wanted to add to you. Yo, to prove your point, out of the same encyclopedia, it says ancient inscriptions in Aramaic have been found all over vast areas extending from Egypt to China. So, yes, exactly what you just said. It goes the reference point to back you. You know what I mean? He was correct. Nailed it right. Correct. I'm trying to find this public law on Morocco, and the reason why I want to use this is because we all know this is in August, like August something 1956, where the U.S. was supposed to have been relinquishing its jurisdiction over Morocco, but at that time also we know that the French occupied Morocco, at least from 1912 to 1956. So if the United States was occupying Morocco or whatever, which Morocco is it talking about? Because the French was clearly over there, and they put that out there. What are they talking about? But then again, at the same time, another confusion will come in when you use the European British maps. They change the names on everything wherever they go. And the reason why they change the name is to put it in their jurisdiction.
Right.
I'm going to find it.
No worries, Moor. Take your time. Just play us a little bit more of this.
New Jersey. According to Drew Ali, knowledge of self was the key to salvation.
And it's not really hidden from you. So because it's not hidden and all these people claim to be scholars, it's as it is. Your IQ not that high. You don't understand, like, it's not your fault. That was just how nature did you, whatever. Or you know better and you don't want to just say better or admit to it because you got some other beliefs, or you get a check for somebody so you can play stupid.
Islam.
It's one of three things. Because this stuff is really, really easy to find.
Yep, and that's the part where it's hard to accept that these people are that incompetent. There's no way that they're this incompetent, that they can research all this stuff, but they can't find out the basic things that debunk everything that they're trying to say. There's no way they couldn't find
and
this stuff out.
I'm not even coming to these guys really with like too much religion type stuff. I'm looking for the Europeans admitting it in their books.
Yeah.
That's what I'm actually looking for. The difficulty that I'm having is that I'm on this laptop and I barely use it because it belongs to my fiance. And I'm not on my phone, speaking on my phone. So I can't use the internet on my phone. That's what my difficulty comes in.
Yes, love.
And he had been sent by Allah to restore African Americans to their true identity, which had been stolen from them by European American Christians. It says in 1925, Drew Ali moved to his headquarters in Chicago, Illinois. In 1927, Drew Ali published the Holy Quran of the Moorish Temple of Science, which was known as the Circle 7 Quran, because it bore on its cover a number 7 inside a circle. This Quran is not to be confused with the Holy Quran of the Orthodox Muslims. Drew Ali's Quran is a pamphlet of 64 pages. This book alone with the Holy Bible was used by Drew Ali's followers as a reference to daily live in. So they still read the Bible. They still read the Bible, you know.
But why did they still read the Bible? Because Noble Drew Ali told the Moors, don't throw your Bible away. Because that same Bible we're going to use to condemn the government. How? Because like we said earlier, they're Islamic. Why they got you taking oaths on Christian Bibles when they're Islamic? That's clearly a contradiction. If the presidents are taking an oath on an Islamic Bible, how come when you go to court, they're putting some Christian stuff in front of you? Oh yeah, because people are dumbasses and they don't know that that's Islamic too. People don't know that Jesus was a Muslim because they haven't studied to know that what they call Christianity is really Constantinism. And Constantine is the Lord God and Savior that they're really worshiping, the European that they got on the wall. Because the Bible tell you, hair like wool, skin like burnt brass, like it was burnt in the oven. Clearly that's not a European. So who is it that you guys are worshiping? Constantine. And again, like we said last session, if Noble Drew Ali is the master metaphysician, if he was Professor Drew, the Egyptian adept, the reason why he told Moors, don't throw away your Bible, because it's a metaphysical book. That's why there's a metaphysical Bible dictionary, so that you can read the Bible and get some clarity and not be a dumb ass that has no idea what's going on in that book. But as soon as you get your metaphysical Bible dictionary and then you pull your Bible out, you realize that Noble Drew Ali was a mastermind, which is why he told these Moors, don't throw away the Bible, because there's more things in there hidden than is apparent. And again, once you get these individuals coming out here claiming that they got scholarship or whatever, and then they're talking about this book along with the Holy Bible was used by Drew Ali, and then that means that we followed Christianity and all that stuff, they're full of BS. There's no Moors follow Christianity. There's no such thing as that. Moors following Christianity. If the same book that Noble Drew Ali brought told us that Christianity is for the European nations, for their salvation. And again, Christianity, if you study, is really Constantinism. Has nothing to do with the Moabite bloodline that Yahshua comes from, even though it says Jesus. But again, to backtrack, our people were in a dumbed down state of mind, and that's all they knew. So he had to talk on a level where the people were. He couldn't bring any Aramaic and all that stuff to them. He couldn't bring any Islam in the open to them like that. That's why the first thing that he says in the book, this is for all those who love Jesus, to get the Christians' attention. As soon as you get that Christian's attention, you realize that, oh, I'm not Christian. We're Islamic. Jesus was the Prince of Peace. Peace means Islam. Islam means peace. So Jesus is really the Prince of Islam. And if he's the Prince of Islam, clearly he's not Christian. But you're not going to know that unless you study. And again, these people that are putting out this information against Noble Drew Ali, they can't be that incompetent. There's no way that they're that incompetent. These people have to be sent in order to put out this type of propaganda to try to make it look like Moors don't know what we're talking about. When we know exactly what we're talking about. Why? Because we're scientists. We're not mere believers like anybody else out here who's claiming some type of quote unquote religious name. Islam, Moors, you got anything to add on?
It's definitely the agenda. And you see, Like the whole thing that Noble Drew Ali, even though he got the Christian attention, he wanted us to sway away from a lot of that Sunday stuff. Just certain things that if you look at Code Noir, the Black Code or whatever, that like the Sunday thing. It's just different little things that you look at the Black Code that he was trying to get us away from. That certain people, the grand protectors of the Christian creed, was out set to keep us in it. And that's where a lot of the lynchings come from. And it seems like if these people are protecting the Christian creed too, that, dude, you work for the Ku Klux Klan, because that's who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And they ain't gone for just change their name and went in different places and just themselves. But even David Duke got a Koran.
Right. Exactly.
These people are most definitely sent. This stuff's so easy to look at. I'm about to go into this book. One of y'all can go real quick. I got this book now. I'm about to go straight into it.
Right, and again for the Hebrew or whoever in the chat that's talking about what did he just say? Jesus, Yeshua came from a Moabite Canaanite bloodline. Now I know this is BS. Ruth married Boaz, but everything goes through mother, not father. So don't tell me any BS about any Israelite if they come from the descendants of Ruth. Because ain't nobody descend from Boaz. Because Boaz is patriarchal. Ruth is matriarchal. Everything goes through mother. Nothing goes through father. Anybody talking about stuff going through father, that's patriarchal European mindset. Anybody talking going through father, that's patriarchal European mindset. Because everybody else on the planet who's not European knows that honors the mother first before anything else. Mother, mother, mother. Stop the BS.
It's over with, y'all. For those that got eyes that can see. Those that got ears to hear. And pretty much, like, soon as this dude opened it up and said Timothy Drew, an African American, like, no, like, you should be able to see that by having eyes to see and ears to hear. You really let them hear.
Oh, and quick interjection. Another one of these clowns out here. Wait a minute. Do you gurus have women grand sheiks? No, sheiks are masculine, but we have grand sheikesses. So stop the BS. We're not patriarchal like you people. We give honors to mother. And the real seat is mother. That's why the grand sheik is S-H-E-I-K, sheik. Because even in his superior position as a masculine, she is there. And you can't get around it. That's why it's spelled S-H-E-I-K. That's a fact that it's called sheik because we give honors to mother. That's Moorish science. So don't worry about, do we have grand sheiks that are women? The Grand Sheikh is sitting in the seat that represents mother. The Grand Sheikh is wearing a fez which represents the womb. So trust me, we're not you fake Indians. We're not you fake indigenous people. We're not y'all.
Somebody go with the prayer holiday.
Say that again more?
Holiday. Somebody in chat, Supreme Chief Holiday said that lies that Arabs hate women. And I just don't think that the people that he calls Arabs are not Arabs. They fake too.
But going back to that thing, this is why they do clickbait and whatever else, because they don't have anything to present. They don't have anything to present. If they had something to present, they would be presenting it. For the last month, these people have been talking about Moors and Noble Drew Ali and whatever about Moors. Like they don't got nothing to present. We know that you have nothing to present. Because when we go check all your past videos, you got 50 views and 200 views and whatever. Only when you're talking about Moors and disrespecting Noble Drew Ali and all that stuff, do you get your little views up. Because why? All these people are doing the same BS that Frank Gary does, create some division, make some type of versus this and that, and now they're getting views. And now they think they're somebody because they got some views on some video. FOH. This is not what it's about. Trust that it's not about what it's about.
We got these dumb people in the chat that don't know that Canada is in America.
Right.
I love these dudes. Hey, who in the chat don't think Canada is in America? Raise your hand. Big five.
Islam, brother Yusuf, you got anything to add on there?
Yeah, just to back you with the matriarch thing. Coming out of the book, United States in Morocco, 1776, 1956, from Llewellyn J. Hall. The first chapter is called The Evolution of the Sharifan Empire. Because before it was called the Moroccan Empire, it was named after her. The Sharifan. She. Back to the matriarch.
Mm-hmm. Matriarch rules. Matriarch rules. You could play it like that's not what it is all you want. But we already know what it is. That's why we're the scientists and you people are the believers.
He said we gave up our nationality. He should find out what was the plan at the Oddfellows meeting. The Negro science dude.
Oh yeah, put it all out there, Mar. Don't even hold back on these people.
He said, it ain't about them. Africa, Morocco. It's an empire, silly. What part about that you don't get? That's like, how should we say it? Y'all was, what Negro say? Y'all nationality ain't got naturalized migrant. No, we ain't necessarily was born. This is why Negro science. This is why you should go to Public Law 857 and just go read that. I'm gonna give you that, and you come back and tell me what's going on after that. We didn't leave our homeland. This is our homeland. All of it. That's why when Columbus got here, he found Moors. Let me go pull up this jail stuff real quick.
There's a lot more. Go ahead. I'm gonna play this thing. I'll play this thing.
I need about to put in. I'm gonna just go ahead and Negro Science. Hold on.
Because we have to always remember that as Moors, as descendants of Moroccans born in America, we have a connection not just to over there, but we also have a connection to over here. We're descendants of Moroccans born in America. We're not the descendants of French Montana born in America. We're descendants of Moroccans. We're descendants of Moroccans. Why? Because Morocco,
that Morocco over there.
French occupied over there.
Occupied that Morocco. They occupied over there. And in 1856, the United States supposed to be relinquishing this occupation over here. But they still been doing things. See, what's going on right now in the government right now is that you do got people know about things and they are the number one Jewelry. And it's just funny how these towns be trying to talk down on Noble Jewelry when Noble Jewelry was set with the king body, telling him that he was a prophet and they ain't stone him to death. Because if you go over there right now and say that you're a prophet, they gonna stone you.
Facts.
They protected him. They honor Noble Jewelry. But what's going on kind of right now is that you got these people telling you what's going on. And it's like they trying to give it back to you and let you know that, hey, this is what's going on. Just like, what was that Rewalk Summit when they had T.I. going to Nationality and stuff like that?
Yeah.
They were telling you Noble Jewelry. Who else fought that other than Noble Jewelry? T.I. ain't bring that first. Killer Mike ain't bring that first. And he told the masses of the people, which is the young people that were going to watch the Rewalk Summit, that nationality is key. What they were trying to get y'all to do was go back and look for your nationality. It's over with.
Now let me just put this out again. Just because these people are playing dumb, right? Negro science, root words. Open your ears on this, okay? Moorish Paradigm, book number 7 by Hakeem Bey. Right? Speech of His Excellency Mati Jorio, Maatijorio, because, you know, Negro science, you're talking about Morocco said that we're fake. You just want to put this out there, since Morocco says that we're fake. Speech of His Excellency Mati Jorio, Ambassador of Morocco, at the Moorish Centennial Celebration honoring Noble Jewelry, January 11th, 1986. It is a privilege for me and for the other staff members of the Embassy of Morocco to attend this Noble Jewelry Centennial Tribute Dinner. Please let me take this opportunity to express to you our collective appreciation for your kind invitation and my personal appreciation for having been given to receive the Ambassador of the Faith Award. I am greatly honored. It is also a pleasure for us to be in the company of such distinguished guests as those here tonight and to be taking part in such a joyous celebration. We are happy to bring you all greetings from His Majesty King Hassan II and the people of Morocco. By now, I have been made well aware of your devotion to strengthening the ties linking the Moorish American community to Morocco. Morocco, for its part, welcomes your interests and your work for a better understanding between us. I would like you to know that your efforts have not gone unnoticed. Your initiative is to be both respected and encouraged. As to us, we in turn have every intention of doing all possible to make our relationship a vibrant and special one. FOH, root science, FOH. If you want to study, study from Moors. Don't study from people calling themselves Negro. Don't study from people calling themselves indigenous. Don't study from people calling themselves Aboriginal, autochthonous. Don't study from people calling themselves Indian, American Indian, none of that. Don't study from people calling themselves Hebrew. Don't study from people calling themselves Rastafarian. Don't call it Kemetic, conscious. Don't study from any of those people. Make sure you go find some Moors and study under them, study behind them, study over them, study at their feet. Don't get played by any of these people who don't have a nationality. Because guaranteed, because they don't have a nationality, you will be played. And then you're going to be coming back to Moors after complaining. And we're going to be there to tell you, we told you so. We told you to not go down that road, but you want to play games. How is it that they're not going to debunk the letter from the Moroccan ambassador to the Moorish Science Temple, giving honors to the Moors, the Moorish Americans specifically? Why won't they talk BS about that? Why? Because they can't. How can they? I thought Morocco thought we're fake. If Morocco thought we're fake, why is it? If Morocco thought that we're fake, why is it? Right? Let's just ask the question. If Morocco thought that we're fake, why is it that ambassador of Morocco just met with a Moor who's a Moorish American? This is this week. This is this week. How are you telling me that Morocco thinks we're fake if the Moors who are in America just met with a Moroccan ambassador this week? The hell are you talking about? The hell are you talking about? Where's your picture? Where's your picture, Negro? Since you're a Moor by birthright, Negro science guy, where's your picture with a Moroccan? Where's your picture with somebody that's credible so we can say, oh, okay, fine, yeah, somebody thinks that you're credible. Nobody thinks you people are credible. You are YouTube people. You guys don't get out of the realm of YouTube. That's where you live, only on YouTube. We know that that's where you live, only on YouTube, only on Facebook, only on Instagram. You're not in real life who you say that you are. We know this.
Excuse me, Grand Sheik.
Islam, go right ahead, Moore.
Look, I'm in the house right now with a guy that's been rich 3 times over. One of his businesses, he was doing international trade with Liberia in the 80s. And he been to the UN and everything. I just asked him, did he want to speak? Because this guy can get more in depth. He can go in almost like Taj can, that I'm in the house with now. He ain't want to speak right now. But he didn't do international business, left the UN in the 70s and the 80s. Under no Negro title. When he showed me his business, his plans, and all that type of stuff, it was Moorish world. But he was doing international trade. The guy that I'm in the house with right now, this is my daughter's grandfather. It's out here. This is why they covering it up. Because you can step into the international playing field at that point in time. It collapses everything. Everything is already collapsed. but it's still standing. Like the guy that just ain't fall, just ain't fell yet after getting shot that time. He just waiting for him. It's over with.
And again, and just the
I'm definitely gonna have him come on and speak whenever I get a chance.
Islam.
He ain't gonna get me to it.
And again, the reason why it's still standing is because of people like Negro Science. The reason why it's still standing is because people like Supreme Chief Holiday, people like Lotus Television, people like Dane Calloway, people like Aboriginal Indigenous Council, people like American Indian Truths and American Indian Council and whoever else out there that doesn't want to get down with the fact that we're Moors. That's why this European still has power in our land. Because the people who are supposed to wake up, they don't want to wake up. They want to stay asleep. Or they want to be awoke, but whatever it is that they're getting from YouTube or whatever is enough for them to keep the people deaf, dumb, and blind. Right? And it's crazy. Islam more.
Pardon me. All right, so Barack Obama came in and signed the rights of indigenous people, right?
Yes, sir.
You have these YouTubers just telling you that you indigenous and that's how you should get your rights, right? What did the rights of indigenous people say? Indigenous people have the right to what?
A right to a nationality.
Exactly. So if it was just about I'm indigenous and misogynist and all that type of stuff, why would Barack Obama come in and sign the rights of indigenous people for you to get a nationality?
And not only Barack Obama, but also the past Prime Minister of Canada Corporation, Stephen Harper, also signed on. Why? But then now you still got these people playing Indian and tribes and whatever when they have a right to a nationality. Are you a dumbass? You have a right to a nationality, but you're gonna tell me your nationality is a continent. You dumbass. And don't forget, all you 28 people back there who sneak studying, make sure you go like, stop playing. Thumbs up the video. I only see 60 people thumbs up there, and it says you got 93 people on here. So stop playing.
I'm just trying to give it to them like it is. I know the ones that still argue and troll, those are the ones that's causing the confusion.
Yes, sir. We already know.
Because all this stuff is simply, you can simply look it up. It don't even take a rocket science to do this. If you know how to change the inner tube on your child's bicycle or on yours, if you know how to change the spare tire on the car, you can easily go look up this research.
Right.
I ain't the smartest man in the world, but that's what Forrest Gump used to say.
Definitely not the dumbest
either.
either.
A lot done.
Definitely not the dumbest either.
He got a lot done.
Islam, we play some more of this propaganda here.
All right, so isn't the Christians reading the Bible? Isn't Hebrews reading the Bible too? So I thought it wasn't about religion. So these people, the Holy Quran, who had a lot of Christian references and New Age Aquarian references to Jesus, right, was read by his followers along with the Bible. So they didn't let go of any religion. All right. Drew Ali died in Chicago, Illinois in 1929 under mysterious circumstances. The Moorish Science Temple of America split into several factions. So he died under mysterious circumstances. Again, mysterious. This was the first American religious organization to spread awareness of Islam as an alternative to Christianity for African Americans. So listen, again, he's telling you straight up that this was the first American religious organization to spread the awareness of Islam. This was before.
Peace, more. Go ahead.
Here's another lie. Cognitive thinking. When you know the truth, you can just debunk this shit. So, during so-called slave times, free blacks, they ain't walk around with crosses. They walked around with turbans. Free blacks practiced Islam. Point blank period at that time. The Christians, with the property, the slaves, they had to practice Christianity and all that stuff. So when this guy say that Noble Drew Ali had bought Islam as an alternative, it wasn't alternative. It wasn't an alternative. He was bringing it back.
Mm-hmm.
He's reminding the people who they was before they fell. And everybody lost consciousness. It wasn't an alternative. It's who we was. We just ain't know it at that time. But you can go ahead and continue playing it. I just wanted to point out the bullshit that's coming out the ass he called a face.
Islam.
The Nation of Islam, right? He was the first. This study is intended to shed new light on the life and teachings of Drew Ali by providing information previously unavailable. The following will be examined: a brief history of Moor County in North Carolina, Moor County, and the tribe of Ben Ishmael. Says point 2, Drew Ali's early years. Point 3, his assumption of prophethood. Point 4, a history of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Point 5, the mysterious circumstances surrounding his death. All right. Now it says here in the introduction, the purpose of this thesis is to explore the history of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, the development of the Moorish Science Temple of America, hereinafter referred to as MSTA, and the other organizations he influenced. Drew Ali has a unique position as a religious leader in the rich and diverse history of African Americans who influenced other African American religious leaders. Dodge the hijack with the whole African thing, including Father Divine. Listen to this. He influenced, all right, listen, who he influenced: Father Divine, W.D. Fard, yes, you know, the pale guy, W.D. Fard, Elijah Muhammad, and others have been well documented. He influenced these people, the whole Nation of Islam, and all that. In a photograph in Sacred Drift, Essays on the...
Well, Islam, more, you want to touch on that thing about the origin of the Nation of Islam, the original name before Temple of Islam?
Yeah, we spoke about this earlier. See, the bull crap in that's coming out as his ass he called a face. It did. It was first called the Moorish Nation of Islam. They hate the Moorish part so you don't ever wake up. Go look that up. Easily researchable. Somebody's out here telling kids they're lying to you, man. They'll let you people fool y'all. That's easily researchable. It do not take a rocket scientist. I promise you that. Look up the Moorish Nation of Islam. Can you pull it up, Grant, shake and show them?
Hold up.
Yeah, but go look up that quick history real quick. Says y'all just want to make it the NOI. It'd be funny to me how a lot of cats conveniently look over certain parts of history so it can fit their narrative.
Now again, fit their narrative, right? Fit their narrative. Because again, the whole position is them trying to get attention. The only way they're going to get attention is to create a narrative. And how, just like Brother Yasir was saying, when I asked the conscious guys, so you mean that the people who are debating know each other and it's not really a debate? And they're just out here pretending that they're against each other to get into people's pockets to get finance? They have to create a narrative. That's wrestling. After wrestling's done, wrestler guys, they're going to the gym together to go work out. They're not enemies. When guy pile drives guy, you're not pile driving anybody. It's a game.
It's fiat and keeping you sleep. That's just real rap.
It's all a game.
It's fiat in it. The church keep you sleep. Everybody know it ain't just the church. Everybody know except for you. Even this dude making this video, he know.
They better know.
He probably got a couple bills paid for the money, new car, sold you out.
Did his job. Did his job. Did his job.
If you don't know better, he's doing a good job. If you don't know no better.
Oh, he knows better. Guarantee he knows better.
12 years ago when I was asleep, I wouldn't know anything better. I'd hate this up.
Straight up.
What I'm telling you is this: I'm giving you little points. You can just easily go do the research. If you refuse to go do the research, that's on you, huh? Yeah, no.
Margin of Islam by Peter Lamborn Wilson. Drew Ali is shown wearing a turbaned fez with a feather in it, and a robe with a sash above his chest. Not unlike the custom of Freemasons. Just like a Freemason. All right? Drew Ali dressed just like a Freemason. Remember, he was initiated to a secret society by that high priest from an ancient cult in Egypt. Let's not forget that, right? Drew Ali had access to certain information that we didn't have access to. So he knew who he was. He knew who he was, or who he thought he was, because he had some information from somebody, right? This gave him the appearance.
Now, once again, all that stuff after, not unlike the costume of Freemasons, that's not in the stuff that he's reading. What are they doing? Changing the narrative. Now again, let's go again. Another reference point, just so that you can hear it from Moors. Because if you listen to these people on YouTube, they are gonna sell you right back into slavery. Exhuming of the nation, Elahi Pleasant Bay. Was Noble Drew Ali a Freemason? Oh heavens to the no. All so-called NBC Masons are African males who lay comatose and dead in their coffin, buried in the shallow grave of the constitutional laws of the corporate USA. They have been led to believe that they are a cut above their fellow men, mothers, women, and children, but the coffin enslaves them all the same. No free man worth living would ever commit suicide. There has been much loose talk, accusations, Islamic speculations, Moorish science, hypothesis, and outright lies, all alleging the Holy Prophet was a Western Freemason from some made-in-America order of free, ancient, and accepted Negroes. No, Drew Ali was never a Western Freemason, never joined a Negro lodge, never wore a Masonic ring, and there is no attendance record of him ever attending any chapter of a Prince Hall Lodge or Negro Masonic Lodge. For those who insist on spreading this nonsense, please forward them a copy of this statement of facts built in with the intellects of the following questions. In 1902, Timothy Drew left the USA and went to Egypt. At the age of 16, was too young to join a Masonic lodge. In 1912, he graduated from the ancient Kemetic mystery system, Islamism. He was given the high name of Sharif Abdul Ali with the most benevolent degree the greatest school on earth could bestow upon any man as a prophet, angel, and Muslim, the name of the faithful, and went into the holy city of Mecca. There, being accepted by Sultan Saud a direct descendant of Hagar, Ali made his Hajj and with their protections and blessings left for the USA at the age of 27 with the sacred name of El Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali. He did not join a Masonic lodge while in Africa, nor Arabia, or Morocco, or India. So when? He opened the first temple in 1913 at the Dixon Barbershop in Newark, New Jersey, after receiving its governor's full support. As a Muslim and an ordained prophet of Allah, what the hell could a bunch of Negro lodge brothers have to offer Noble Drew Ali? Remember now, we are talking about a group of male ex-slaves with no free national name, no power, no land, no government, no history, no future, and neither are they free, ancient, or accepted by any other nation of the earth. To this day, they are made and owned in the US of A. Has Morocco or any nation ever come to the aid of the NBC Masons? Last question. Why would any conscious Muslim take his will from Allah and swear it to a most worshipful master? The true answers to the above questions will easily render an intelligent no. Noble Drew Ali was not a Mason. Again, this is not to degrade the Moorish science lodges of any degree, but to set the record straight. The duty of a prophet and a Mason are as different as white and black or freedom and slavery. The NBC, Mason, or otherwise were made to be property. They have never known freedom and will never know freedom. Islam.
In order to be a Mason, first of all, let me just give y'all this history. In order to be a citizen, you have to be a Mason. But in order to be a Mason, you have to be a sound mind, 21 years of age, and Caucasian. The Negro Mason ain't nothing but their property that they initiated to keep y'all in control on a higher level. The Negro Mason is the true house Negro. The rest of us in the field. But you just thought it was some Uncle Ruckus juggling watermelon and stuff. No, that's not what it was. But go ahead, continue, Grand Sheik.
Islam.
Look that up. You got to be Caucasian to be a Freemason. The Negro Mason has to ask for permission.
Facts.
Of a character in a comic opera. Like Marcus M. Garvey, Drew Ali was in many ways a product of his time, and it is difficult to understand him without looking at the interplay of the social dislocation that produced the atmosphere in which he and Garvey flourished. No matter what Drew Ali was to the establishment, who did not take him seriously, to his followers, who found new life and lived again, stimulated by his presence and credos, he was taken seriously. He was their prophet and a leader of great significance to them.
Now, do you have any experience of your Moorish nationality that came to you through the Prophet Noble Drew Ali being taken seriously by others? Islam Moor. Yeah, do you have any experience or examples of your Moorish nationality being taken seriously by others? Your Moorish nationality that was presented or introduced to you through the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. You're breaking up more. Start over.
I said I have experience in the courtrooms where I have been in the courtrooms and I spoke on it. Before I got in the courtroom, they tried to put the public defender up. I spoke on it. I was part of the courtroom last. It was like 60 people. I was part of the courtroom last, and I walked up. The so-called public defender said, "This is the one that I was telling y'all about." They went on to process me, but obviously it's something on my file because I went down there the week before last. I just became a CDL driver. I went down there the week before last with the old marijuana ticket. I put the prosecutor to the side, and I ain't go last. But when I went up, he called my name like 2-3 people. When I went up, he asked for the case dismissed. And when the judge asked me, I said, yeah, with prejudice. I walked out the door, and I told everybody before we went in there, I wasn't going to pay nothing. Why you ain't going to pay nothing? I was boasting and bragging, just being funny. It's a municipality for one. It's a marijuana ticket. Everybody else that went in there pled guilty, no contest, had to pay fines. I was the only one that walked out there. I said it live. Told y'all I wasn't going to pay anything and walked right out the courtroom.
Mm.
You want me to prove it? I can go get the paperwork. But that's exactly what happened.
Islam.
A lot of times, you're not going to find no case laws with Moors in it, because if it comes to the point where we win it, they dismiss it, so it don't go on record. It's strategic, man. You just can't be naive out here. You got to know the game. They pump fake y'all. Y'all get scared and believe it.
Mm-hmm.
I speak to lawyers all the time. These different people. I went to a culinary school called Edwin's Restaurant and Leadership Institute. They call it classical French. I still got the homework assignments that they made me do because I was falling behind. Missed a couple days, did bad on the test, so they made me just write some reports. So I had to write 4 essays, and one of the topics I get to pick on my own. Me knowing my history, I wanted to see what was the Moorish influence on French cuisine. Kind of find out that the French with the world-renowned culinary and all that stuff, French menus was identical to Moorish menus in the 1700s and 1800s. You can easily go look this up. Moors introduced to them the fork and a plethora of other things just in that. So, the other report, I forget what they was, something about nouveau cuisine and just different little stuff, but I had to write them. But anyway, so as I'm done writing these reports, the chef asked me, he said, "What made you pick this?" I said, "Because I know my history." He said, I say, "Do you know that these people that think they black are Moors?" The chef told me, "Yeah, I know." I said, "How come they don't know?" He said, "That's because they really brainwashed and walked away from me." Caucasian dude, he know, wasn't an argument, none of that. It was an argument. He agreed, and he walked away from me.
European.
It was not an argument at all. But you tell these people, our people, Man, you know you ain't black. You know you ain't from Africa, right? And they'll fight you. In trucking school, one of the instructors there went on the road with him a couple of times. He taught me how to drive the truck on the road. Me and him in the conversation. I say, Chuck, somehow we get on nationality or whatever. I say, Chuck, I'm Moorish. I'm Moorish American. At first he said, what's that? I say, that's who I was before we fell into slavery. I said, you know about that history? He said, yeah. He said, the Queen sent Columbus and them over here, killed like 12 million or something like that, and left 800,000 alive. It wasn't an argument. And this is Caucasian dude. I'm in Ohio. They got Confederate flags in their truck.
Oh,
But then they try to tell you that
No, I was gonna say touch on that. The whole because you brought the Confederate flags. What in your studies, do you think when it comes to like the Dutch blackface and KKK wearing, robes and killing niggers and all that stuff, that they hate us, or is something else going on?
I think that number one, they hate us, and number two, they're the grand protectors of the Christian creed. They're all over the place. You just got to know how to read them when you go there. Like when you see the signs and stuff, and if you don't know how to read it, you just blind, and you got eyes that don't see and ears that can't hear. So it's like they just keep control over us, point blank, period. And me, when I was driving, the trucking school was like maybe 35 minutes away from my house. So I made this drive 5 days a week for about 2 months. And as I get off the freeway, I can see their international signs. I can see cornfields with the light, with the cross in them or whatever. And at nighttime, as you ride past it, because I work security in Sandusky, Ohio before, as far as like bouncing in the nightclub, you can see the same cornfield with the cross in it. During the nighttime, it's lit up. It's not lit up with fire. It's lit up with white light that symbolizes fire. So it's just them keeping their foot on our necks. But you can easily get off the freeway in Ohio and see a sign that's a blue, white, yellow sign that says KC, Knights of Columbus. And that's what lets you know who runs that territory right there.
Right.
So it's not that when you go into Parma, Ohio, that they're racist and they just hate you and they pulling you over because you an N-word, you know what I'm saying? They don't like me because I'm black. They pulling you over because they know who live out there, who is in control out there. They want to see what you doing out there, what you want to tax you if they can, write you a ticket or whatever, because they're controlling you and they're occupying. You don't believe me? Look it up. Just as easy as you can ride on the freeway and you can see the sign saying Akron corporate limits. You can also get off the freeway and see a little sign that might be white or something, and then it say Rotary International. And they're really no different. That's who control that territory right there. Even the way how they live different in the rural areas. Some people own the land, mineral rights. They got us in the inner city written and paying taxes because we don't got the mineral rights in the inner city, but they in the rural land and they got the mineral rights to the land. Because they stole it for you, number one. They stole it for me.
Facts a million.
It's real rap. I'm telling you, I talked to with these people that got Confederate flags because I'm just not no asshole. And because I'm not an asshole, I'm a very approachable person. I'm knowledgeable. People talk to me. I done talked to people in the midst of heroes that the so-called Indians and so-called India run all in this part of North America. And when I let them know, like, I know they Hindustani and they from Hindustan, they smile and they talk to me. These people are not, so then you get Negroes that come on YouTube, they keep everybody else speak because they cause the confusion. The prophet was right and exact on everything he said. Ain't no debunking the prophet. You got a nationality. Claim it. Learn how to live in it. What time say they won't take your peanut butter sandwiches.
Oh yeah, since
they
you
don't
brought
take my peanut butter sandwiches no more.
Since you brought that up too.
And that shit's real rap.
Since you brought that up too, you want to touch on that video?
Which video?
Where you told those Moors when they tried to bum rush Taj at that thing?
Oh yeah. So all them Facebook Moors and all them type of Moors, dirty Moors, I be in arguing with them going back and forth on Facebook. So one day, about a month ago or so, they in there, yeah, we really got them this time. So from the way out and they arrogant, it came to me off top. I say, y'all surrounded a 73-year-old man and tried to get him to comply through fear. I say, y'all the dirty Moors. We got it on video. We didn't put the video. We ain't surround him. He was willing. If you can look, they all standing behind him, arms crossed, smirks on their face. It reminded me of some of them church paintings and stuff where the Sadducees ganged up on Jesus for telling the people the truth back in the day, if you read the Bible. And I told them, like, before they even released the video, it's not going to look good on your part. They released the video, and it did not look good on their part. So I just teased them. I trolled the hell out of them Moors. And they never teach you. Whenever you ask them anything, you know what they say? Come join the temple. I said, oh, I get it. Y'all goat riders in the temple. And when I start saying that, they start blocking me.
That's all they do.
The one brother, I bring him the Delaware Indian Code, Title 29, the Lenape Indian. And he was like, no, man, that ain't what this about. He sent me something else, talking about this is what the prophet for. But as I'm reading the case law said 1996, 2001, the prophet transformed way before that. I know how to read the case law, find out what circuit court we're at, all that type of stuff. I'm like, no, dog, this not it, or whatever. And it was just like, he couldn't argue with me no more. I can go and send the screenshots of me talking to a Moor, and he say, man, only reason why I ain't with the Todd stuff is because it don't work. I say, Todd is teaching right in the day. I say, the only reason why it don't work when it don't work is because we still at war. When you go in those so-called courtrooms, there are military flags which let you know, no matter what's on that paperwork or what they say out their mouths, where the hell you are at.
Straight up.
Period. They're military flags.
Yeah.
They let you know who they are. But you don't have eyes to see, and you don't have ears to hear. Hey, you know what the brother said? He admitted to me that when Moors get defeated in court, that's why, because they're not upholding their Knights of Columbus Ku Klux Klan oath over the Constitution, the organic Constitution and things. Don't be naive. When you see these lawyers and stuff, just because they black don't mean that they be on your side. Or they got the same skin complexion as you, they're not on your side. You want to know why? Because they members of the Bar Association. That's who they work for. And we all know what the bar is. So whenever I see a brother become a cop and start arresting his own, and his license plate got the fraternal order of police on it, that's who he works for. He ain't on my side. But you got to have eyes to see and ears to hear to know what's going on. You guys that developing them, that's a good thing. Just stay here with us. The other one that's causing confusion, look, just study. Get you an Edamon dictionary, get you a Raw dictionary, get you a Hunter Bridge dictionary, get you a medical dictionary, so you can even know that. Get you a financial dictionary. Learn how to read the map and the atlas. Learn how to read. And when you see these things and when they bring to you, yeah, Timothy Drew was an African American leader. Top that they lied to you.
Straight up. Straight lying. Lying.
How was CM Bank able to put AA 222-141 in the Library of Congress if it was some bull crap?
Right.
But we know what happened to the infiltrating the Kirkman Bay. Then they put it back. All you got to do is write to the Moroccan consulate in D.C. That's on Northwest Street. But that's another sign and symbol to let you know where you at. But you can't see it. So you got these trolls that don't want to wake you up. And they tell you things like Timothy Drew, African American leader. A psych attack, an attack on your psyche. Don't fall for it. And the other ones that's doing it, y'all gonna definitely catch y'all day.
Islam. We just gotta play this one for Negro Science and all of his boys riding with him, eggplant crew out there. Just gotta play this one for them.
We are going to
jump back sound. You cannot cross the border. Cause we are clear, buddy. You were come, we kill you already. And you are the around. There is no form of just to weak or when it comes to lyrics, we have it. So come. Boom, bye, in the body.
The motherland. Yes, I am in my motherland.
Say that again, more.
I say the earth is the motherland. Yes, I am in my motherland.
It's straight up. Motherland's everywhere.
Stop
what are you talking about?
Start thinking with the mind of the colonizer, and then you'll wake up. I'm telling you. I really got this woke because I was cut off from all forms of social media and bullcrap for about 5 years, and I just studied. And I went to the library. I went downtown to the library and looked at the books that they don't let you take out. I myself can tie my roots
to a Cherokee lady named Marietta.
Don't worry about.
And that was
Don't
easy
worry.
found. That was easy found on Ancestry.com just for hearing about the history of my family myself.
Don't worry, Negro
You
Science.
can go on my Facebook page and see my grandmother, Brielle Bay, Briellbey.
Brielle Bay. You gotta wonder about you, Negro Science. We gotta wonder about you, root words. You messing with those trannies? You might be messing with those trannies, roots words, because I don't know why you're talking about penises in our chat for. I don't know why you're talking about penises in our chat, roots words.
Yeah, that the real man don't do that.
Like, why are you talking about penises and stuff like that?
That ain't cool, y'all.
That's definitely not cool.
Even if you dissing the dude, you don't go there. Like, why do your mind go there first? Because you think like the colonizer.
Booty boy. Love that booty, just like the colonizer. Just like the colonizer. Oh yeah, let's go back to this joker over here too.
Now, further down in this book, all right, page 5, it says Marcus M. Garvey and Drew Ali shared in the leadership of African Americans. They shared, utilizing different approaches. In fact, many of Garvey's former supporters were leaders in the Moorish Science Temple of America.
Oh, let's just put another one out there, just since these people like to play their little games or whatever. Anur Majid, we are all Moors. Islam was everywhere in the Black nationalist movement. The Jamaican-born Marcus Garvey, a convert to Catholicism and founder of the Universal Negro Improvement Association, was influenced by Deuce Muhammad Ali, the Sudanese Egyptian author of In the Land of the Pharaohs, which made the case for Islam as a basis for self-government in the 19th century Egypt. See why? The Canaanites got permission from the pharaohs because everything was Islamic. Everything was I, self, law, and master. That's why Drew Ali said our religion is Islamism. Because Islamism has nothing to do with Islam. Because Islam is I, self, law, and master. Islamism, that's a whole different thing. You go do your own research on that. Garvey's followers, particularly writers for the Negro world, and Garvey himself made analogies between the struggles of Muslims in Africa against European colonialist powers and their struggle for equality in the United States, as well as between Garvey's mission and that of Muhammad, the Prophet of Islam. At one point, Garvey compared his work and that of his followers to the Prophet. As Muhammad did in the religious world, he said, so in the political arena, we have had men who have paid the price for leading the people toward the great light of liberty. In 1923, the Garveyite columnists of the Negro world gave a speech in Boston titled Islam and the Redemption of Africa. So don't be listening to these self-proclaimed scholars that only have YouTube page and no life. They don't know what they're talking about.
Did you know that? Marcus Garvey. Many of
Go ahead, Moore.
No, I was going in the chat room, Negro science talking about he can't be a Negro. I mean, Negro means black. There ain't one nation that's black. Yeah, all right, nobody is Negro. Negro is is black. Stop it. No, you cannot be a Negro. Oh, that's, you know what? If you can, you ain't got no mind. That's just definitely a troll. A troll.
Oh yeah, he's a
That's
troll for
probably
sure.
some Caucasian
For sure.
shit.
No, it's a brother. It's a brother. It's a brother. But he's a Negro. It's not, you know what I mean? It's not like he's proclaimed anything. It's just a Negro that goes from different people's chat. That's the same brother who had the straw fez on those guys' channel.
Hey, Daryl, where you from? Where
That's
you
the
from,
same
Daryl?
guy. Oh, Daryl's out in, where you at, Daryl? I'm gonna send you his contact so you could connect with him.
No, because the mayor, he said we got that's the name of my mayor too, but I don't know if this is the same last name. If he around here where I'm at, then you know we can meet up and speak.
Yeah, he's definitely somewhere around where you're at for sure. I'll get you. I'll send you his contact.
He definitely
Yeah, I'll send you his contact.
Yeah, everything they just put in there. Yeah, definitely. Shout out to the 216. That's where I'm at, y'all.
Islam. And again, you know how Moors do. We only been in here 6 minutes on this guy's BS, and it's already over for them.
His leadership. So many of Marcus Garvey's supporters were leaders in the Moorish Science Temples of America. Droli's movement had its major theological documents, the Holy Bible and the Circle 7 Quran. The latter is a modification of the Aquarian Gospel of Jesus, the Christ of the Piscean age. You see this? Why are they saying all this? I'm going to show you what's in it. All right, you're going to see Jesus all over it. Not kidding. All right, so this person's letting you straight up know. All right, look up that book or that gospel, the Aquarian Gospel of Jesus, the Christ of the Piscean age. I think I actually had that book.
You didn't have shit. Shut the hell up. Let's go again. Another one of our scholars, Jose Pimenta Bay, Othello's Children in the New World. Let's just go again, since they're talking Aquarian Gospel and all this BS. Let's go again. Regarding the issue of nomenclature, Simpson argued that this was unimportant and that Negroes didn't need a new name for themselves. But I would only say that I would wonder how Europeans would respond if pink people or crackers were to suddenly become mainstream terms for their collective identification. When discussing the Moorish Quran, Simpson implies that Ali knowingly plagiarized much of it from the Aquarian Gospel of Jesus Christ, but Ali never claimed to have written the Moorish Quran. He only states that he prepared it. Simpson says the Aquarian Gospel is a text which is said to have been spiritually revealed to Levi Dowling, a Scot-Welshman living in 19th century Ohio. This account is echoed by a Black divinity school via Howard University's Directory of African American Religious Bodies. But neither Howard University nor Simpson ever entertained the possibility that Levi's Aquarian Gospel and Ali's Moorish Quran were both part of a continuum of more ancient sources. Dowling himself had most likely drawn from an earlier written source. And that is precisely what Irish-American researcher Peter Lamborn Wilson found in his research. In his more contemporary work in the early 1990s, Wilson traces much of the Aquarian Gospel and Moorish Quran texts back to manuscripts found by Nicholas Nodovich in a Tibetan monastery. So how come these people are always going to claim Noble Drew Ali plagiarized the Aquarian Gospel from a European, but they're never going to say the European plagiarized the Aquarian Gospel from a Tibetan monastery? How come they don't go there? Why don't they go there? If it's a documented fact that Nicholas Notovic, Nicolas Notovitch, a Russian Jew who converted to the Russian Orthodox faith, if he knows that Levi Dowling got the Aquarian Gospel from a Tibetan monastery, how come these people don't just say Noble Drew Ali got the Aquarian Gospel or the Holy Quran from a Tibetan monastery? Notovitch, a Russian Jew who converted to Russian Orthodox faith, published the manuscripts in 1894 after having acquired them from Tibetan monks who had compiled them as works of Saint Isa. Significantly, Isa is the Muslim Arabic reference for Jesus. Interestingly enough, Isa is also the Gaelic term for Jesus. In a move that seems somewhat paradoxical for an Irish American with a Christian upbringing, Wilson does not treat the MSTA movement as an oddball cult, as so many other writers have done. In fact, Wilson himself recognizes Noble Drew Ali as an American prophet. Wilson tells how he himself became a part of the Moorish Orthodox Church of America in Baltimore back in the late 1950s. The church was founded by European Americans and centered its teachings around the Moorish Quran, which Ali had introduced in the US in the late 1920s. Wilson says of Prophet Noble Drew Ali was no flash in the pan. Moorish science is still alive. Drew Ali's faith behaved like other faiths. As a student of the history of religions, I find fascinating the development of Moorish Apocrypha. One might imagine oneself present at the first century Christianity or Islam. Moorish science admittedly transpires on a smaller scale, but displays structural and archetypal similarities to major religions that are almost uncanny. Neither Simpson nor the Directory of African American Religious Bodies suggests a spiritual or theological explanation for the existing parallels between the Moorish Quran and the Aquarian Gospel. Only Dowling is considered to have had a quote-unquote revelation. But ironically, both Simpson and the Directory represent theocentric theological Christian organizations. And from a theological standpoint, one could and perhaps should argue that spiritual truths are found in many places. A truly theocentric theologian could easily argue that both Drew Ali and Levi Dowling had heard the same divine message and had conveyed the same truth. How come they didn't go there? Scholar went there though.
I ain't know all that. Taught me something on that one.
Othello's Children in the New World. Scholar went there though. But how come these Negroes and these indigenous whoever's didn't go there? Right? Brother Briel, are you in the chat right now?
I'm looking at the chat.
Yeah, you seen brother Darrell left his email for you there.
Oh, let me scroll up to it. Now, where's my state?
Islam.
All right, I got it. I'm about to email you right now.
Islam. Right, and that's how Moors who are unified do. That's how Moors who are on the same page, that's how Moors who are on the same page do. Right? Stop root words. Don't talk about my mom and what's her nationality and where am I from and all that BS. Answer the question. Why are you thinking about penises? That's the question. That's the question. Don't think you're going to get around that. Don't think you're going to divert attention away from the fact that you could be thinking about anything and you got dicks on your brain. And we're just going to let you slide. We already know how you do, especially now that we know what's on your mind. We know how you do. We want to send a shout out to all the Moors out there. Wow. Brother Yusuf, you still there? I ain't even it's a lot more. Say your take. You got anything to throw in? You got anything to throw in?
No, I'm just listening to the teachers go in right now.
It's a lot more. I hear that.
I'm taking in, I give thanks for that.
Straight. Islam.
Roots words need to change his mind. Man, when I was young, if my older homies would have heard me talking stuff like that, man, they'd beat me up. His older homies let him down. Yep.
Held him down.
In real life, if I'd have cracked the jokes like that when I was coming up, I'm talking about 12, 13, 14, 15. My older homies would have beat me up. I would have never did that again.
Yep.
He tripping.
Just like Charlie Murphy and Eddie Murphy did Rick James, just beat his legs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's exactly how they did.
Just beat his legs.
I remember one time I disrespected my grandfather, and that's exactly how they did me. My older homies ain't let me down. His older homies let him down.
Everybody let him down. His pops let him down. Everybody let him down. Everybody let him down. Everybody. He probably don't even know his pops. That's why he's a punk.
Yep.
That's why he's a punk.
That ain't cool, homie.
Straight. Islam to all the Moors. Happy Holy Day.
Yeah.
We got 6 minutes in. We might. Maybe tomorrow, maybe Monday or something. We might go in on some more. But this should do for now, because we don't have to show the whole fraud that these people are running. Let's give you a piece of the fraud to show that they're running a fraud.
Next time we meet, I'll be much more prepared.
Yeah, we already know how it goes, more. You know what I mean? Juali taught us well. You know what I mean? Instead of one apple, give her two. So you gotta do your thing. So we're not even sweating it. You know what I mean? Certain things definitely come before this. That's without a shadow of a doubt. You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't know if you have any closing facts that you want to drop. Just some. I don't know if you have some stuff off the top, or if you have a couple other reference points that you want to put out before we close out.
I found my wife in the temple, but not exactly in the temple. It was prophesied that I have a Moorish wife and be a Moorish husband and have a Moorish family. And I was thinking at the time when I left, I'm like, what? Huh? It wasn't nothing but all women in the temple. I know you're not seriously. I thought I was about to see no Abraham slavery going on. But anyway, kind of find out, man, Allah blessed me with a beautiful family. I knew my wife the whole time. We was good friends. And we got a beautiful daughter.
Islam, more honors to that. Islam to the Moors.
I'm the type of dude.
Go ahead,
I'm the type of dude that feel like, man, Allah done gave me so many chances that if I don't do the right thing, I'm gonna get a severe
about to get
punishment.
it. Straight up, about to get it. You know what I mean? And that's what these people don't know. You know what I mean? They love their punishment. They love it. Because I know Roots life works. I know Roots word sucks. I know his life sucks. I know. I seen his pictures, bags under his eyes and all that stuff. Hair can't get done because baby mom's mad at him and all that. I already know his life sucks. Right? I already seen him in the rubber room basement talking crazy.
Next time we come on, I'm gonna be much
Islam more. Yeah,
all stoppers out of all plugs. I would get that blood out, cause on.
Oh, go in the mic more. We're not hearing you.
I say I'm gonna cross all my T's and dot all my I's and connect all my dots, and I'm gonna be so well prepared that it just ain't gonna be no more else to it. And if we can go like on camera, I can screen share. I'll go hit a screen share where it won't even be no more argument unless you get in the check and you pay to keep the confusion going.
You know they getting the check. You know they getting the check.
Look up a Moor named Stanley in Cleveland, Ohio.
Was that Moorish what?
Hmm?
Say that again, Moor.
I say look up a Moor named Stanley in Cleveland, Ohio. And they were scared. They did articles on him in the Calling Post, but they were scared of it. They ain't want nothing to do with it. When they finally got it, they locked him up for the rest of his life. They wouldn't even look him in the eyes because he was so deep with the science, he was hypnotizing them. The Moors were in the court in the building and prayed, and the jury passed stuff that they don't talk about. It's the type of science that I'm learning. This for me being old Moor that was once a millionaire 3 times over. I can show all these articles. I'm just not prepared right now. But I'll be prepared next time we do it.
Islam more, no doubt. Brother Yusuf, you got anything to close out?
Yeah, smile to the Moors in the chat. And give thanks to the Grand Sheik in this platform. Give thanks to the Moor for giving us that great knowledge day too.
Oh, sorry, yo. Brother L, the Moors in the chat are asking if you could spell the name of the Moor so they could look it up.
If I could tell what?
Spell the name of the Moor so that they could look him up. The Moor that got the life for hypnotizing them Europeans.
Hold on. I'm about to. Dang, he gone. I don't want to go in his wrong. He said he left his fucking job. His slave name was Emmett Cox, but it was Tonelli.
Tonelli.
I can send you some pictures and some of the articles that I got.
And what is it, Tonelli? What is it, Tonelli L, Tonelli B, or just Tonelli?
He was just Tonelli.
All right. In
Cleveland, it was more that didn't have K or L. They just had Muslim names.
Right.
I got the article, so I'll send it to you on WhatsApp. So you can see I ain't blessed. They were scared of me.
For real.
And when they finally got him, they got him. But his charge was enslavement. And one of them was the judge's daughter. The second time he went to court, they kept some Moors off. I bring on the elder Moor, and I'm in the crib with one day, and I'll let him speak to you too. He can tell you way more about it than I can.
For real. Islam. Islam to all the Moors. Peace and love to all. Peace and love to all. And of course, you know, we gotta close out with something. Happy Holy Day once again, Moors. Honors to the Prophet Noble Jew Ali. Give thanks for your attention and your time. And if you don't see anything tomorrow, you already know we're going live Sunday. Canaanland Moors class, Canaanland Moors meeting, 12:30 at the Moor Science Temple of America, 2530 Eglinton Avenue West, 647-748-6664, 647-748-6664. And you can also email at canaanlandguide@gmail.com, CANAANLANDGUIDE@gmail.com. And don't forget, you can get all the music at willofallah.com. You can get all the books at khalifamedia.com. And don't forget to go to the online university, rvbaypublications.com. Get your study on for free. And don't forget MHHS, Eyes Wide Open on Blog Talk Radio. Check the archives. We got years of archives on that Blog Talk that would definitely bring you into the marvelous light. Islam, Moors.
The street is my world. I don't pretend to go uptown and be anything fancy. I can, but I find more real in the world that I'm in than I do the tinsel. And the real world is the one I have to deal with every day. You know? Believe me, if I started murdering people, there'd be nothing left.
Let the bass kick.
Playtime been over since y'all dropped the ball. Bound to the continent, there's no asylum for y'all. Pushing the black Asiatic game with Ford L and Pool Bay. Before NOI, I rep draw L all day. How many fakes proclaim to be the reincarnation and claim to be the true head of the Moorish nation? No mention of Billy Ill, but I read his letters. Dirty Moors mad cause they thought they dead as letters. Many were there when decisions were handed down. Now they claim that Milil was not ordained, not commissioned, not called or appointed. With divine plans for ages, but Dirty Moors making changes. Working with FBI during infiltrations. In a Fez and alleys giving bogey smoke inhalations. And secret walls are made, heads are made in public mentions. Don't believe, get the minutes of the first convention. Kirkman and Lomax Bay got called out as villains against the Prophet Soden and L. Paul Gibbons. Thousands of Moorish Americans followed those leaders that killed the Prophet and made Moors parrots, not readers. They don't study, brains hollow. To crush the truth, plant dissension in the ones that follow. Robbed the treasury, felt like they hit the lotto. Took advantage of the faithful Moors in the times of sorrow. Moments still critical, 100 years later, the message. Stick to the principles in your actions, be progressive. Don't sell your soul for a title, take your membership role. Watch out for grand cheeks pushing you in a censorship hole. The sellout was great, now they come here, won't get the hell out. Active Moors come around, they get clumsy. Not humbly, but act grumpy and jumpy. Active Moors see them touchy and think it's lovely. With faces ugly, I push back so don't shove me. If not for love, it would be just as Dirty Moors get from me. Hitting all reincarnates and writs of discovery. And demanding the treasury recovery and love for money. Wearing affairs don't make you a Moorish adept. Dirty Moorish heads are Boy Scouts and cadets. Working for FBI inspectors, slaves for gadgets. Claiming they got pulled, but they really dead magnets. Running a fraud that's done cause new Moors are here. One for all for one profit like musketeers. Bay, not Tampa or Buccaneers. I strike nerves like harp on strings on those puppeteers. Pushing misconceptions as teachers and calling it facts. Swinging my scimitar, tongue not a fireman's axe. Quick to call me out as dirty, say I violate acts. If you don't nationalize, know that I annihilate blacks. Nailing through their palms and incepts on beams of wood. Burn crosses on black lawns in my Moorish hood. Black Klansmen like movie from 1960. White power, not supremacy like Clayton Catesby. Now I run through illusions. Battling my arch nemesis, misconfusion. She's been trying to keep me out of course, facing losses, calling all her negative forces. 99 years past, Drew Ali said 50 would pass, and you wouldn't know about me, or even know what I brought for you. NOI and UNIA knew about him too. Most thought that they could bury the movement.
being charged passive and abuse it. But Drew said new Moors would come with eyes open, seeing and knowing, far from hoping, far from belief in faith, master fruition. Study the laws of nature, activate intuition. One day our wheels of industry will stop, and when it starts again, Moors will be on top. True Ali blessed with latent power. Warned you, get out the way of the ground to powder. True Ali didn't kill you fast, but he brought you your title and estate vast. Confusion continues to confuse, no remembrance of Maghrib al-Aqsa by Moorish descendants. I run through illusions, battling my arch nemesis, misconfusion. She's been trying to keep me out on course, facing losses, calling all her negative forces.